Welcome to What I'm Reading Wednesday. We're going to go over the books I read this week and whether I think you should add them to your TBR or not. We're going to start with June Baby by Shannon Garvey. I've meant to read this in June. This book packs a lot of grief. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was enjoyable. This book follows Ruth. She is suffering the death of her mother. She loses her mom. She cannot relate with her dad. So her dad says, hey, I have somewhere you can go. This person needs help working over the summers. So she spends her summers on Black Island. She suffers another big loss. And this whole book is about her trying to overcome grief. Just navigates grief and I don't want to tell you much more, but it is a good book. It's just not an easy read like people were probably expecting because you see this beautiful beach cover and that's not what it is. Final Girls by Riley Sager. I believe this is my last Riley Sager book before his new one. His whole backlist is read. I kind of feel accomplished. This was unfortunately not one of my favorite ones from him. I did enjoy it. I gave it like 3.25 stars. This book follows Quincy. Quincy goes off on vacation with her friend group. She is the only survivor of a massacre that happens, and she comes home. There is some question up to what actually happened. She's lost some memory. She becomes friends with two other girls that suffered similar events, like similar, Final Girls. That's where that term comes from. And that's an actual term they use in movies. I did not know that. But there's a lot of questions as to what happened to her and are any of these deaths related to what happened to her, to Quincy. I thought I had figured it out like 50% of the way in, and I had it right, but every chapter after that, Riley Sager threw in a new twist and had me questioning my prediction. So if you like a good twisty book, that's a good one for you. Small Boat by Vincent Delacroix. This is translated by Helen Stevenson. This is actually based on a true story. 29 immigrants left France on a little tiny boat. They boarded this boat and they wanted to go from France into England. The boat started capsizing, started sinking. They start calling for help. So it was hours they were calling. The calls were coming in. It just questions what happened. Where was the breakdown? It doesn't blame anybody specifically or poses a question, is there just one person to blame or is it a bigger problem? Government, immigration rules, what we think morally we should do. This was a really good read. I think it should be a mandatory book. This was shortlisted for the Booker last year of 25. It's only 100 pages. So I highly recommend that book, and it will kind of give your moral compass a nice little check. Black Bag by Luke Kennard, talking about Booker list. This made the long list of 26 for the Booker, and I'm trying to work my way through it. I don't know if I'll make the whole list, but I'm glad I read this one. This is funny. It is different. When I started reading it, I'm like, what am I reading? It is very different than anything I've ever read. This book follows an out-of-work actor who actually is going through a lot. He needs money. He hasn't been able to get work. He's a little narcissistic, a little full of himself, a lot of masculinity. He sees an ad for a job where a professor wants somebody to take part in an experiment that he's doing in his class. And the experiment is that he has to wear a black bag, sit in the back of his classroom. He's getting paid pretty well. So he's like, sure, I'll do it. But he cannot share his identity. He cannot communicate with anybody. He just has to sit there and pretty much he's anonymous. His identity is stripped. This was an actual study that was done. I did not know that. I looked it up. It was actually based on loosely on a study that was done. It covers masculinity and just toxic masculinity. It covers your narcissistic personality. It covers loneliness. It covers what's important in life. It covers how you see people and do we see people. A little short love story in there that's awkward, but nonetheless, it's intriguing. Yes, I really enjoyed this book. I had to sit with it for a while because at first I was like, what am I reading? What is this book about? And the more I read it, the more I really enjoyed it. I just finished Invisibility by James Patterson and David Ellis. And I really enjoyed this thriller. I don't read a lot of James Patterson. The couple I've read from him, I really enjoyed. So maybe I should start reading more. But this book follows Emmy. She has suffered a loss. She takes a break from her FBI researcher job, but then she starts seeing there's a lot of murders going on. She thinks they're all related. They all think she's crazy. They're like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. She really, really is going to take it upon herself to figure out what's going on. So she starts investigating, starts to see these connections. I don't want to tell you much more. It's told from her point of view and from the point of view of the killer. Writing is almost like a journal. It's pretty interesting. It's a unique concept, and I enjoyed it. I read All the Other Mothers Hate Me. It follows a mom who is trying to prove her son's innocence. Her son's bully was missing during a field trip. All fingers are pointing to her son. She's going to do everything she can to prove that it's not her son and save him. It kind of goes to show, what lengths we'll go to protect our children. And I'm reading this right now. I just started it. I can't tell you much about it, but I will let you know when I finish reading it because it's been on my TBR forever and I'm glad I'm getting to it. So that's all I got. Let me know if you've read any of these and what do you think of them? Are you going to add any of these to your TBR? I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.